A hidden twist in how iron behaves at the tiniest scales could quietly transform the future of electronics, data storage, and even quantum technologies. And this is the part most people miss. By trapping iron inside ultra-thin carbon tubes, scientists have coaxed it into a rare, normally unstable form that shows completely unexpected magnetic behavior. Breakthrough in a nutshell. Researchers at Xi'an Jiaotong-Liverpool University, XJTLU, have discovered an unusual atomic form, or phase, of iron when it is squeezed into the confined space inside carbon nanotubes. In normal room conditions, ordinary temperature and air pressure, this kind of iron phase would not usually survive, because it is thermodynamically unstable and tends to transform into more common structures. Yet inside these nanotubes, it not only appears but also stays stable, opening the door to new kinds of magnetic, spintronic, spin-based electronics, and quantum materials. What exactly did they put inside the nanotubes? Carbon nanotubes can be imagined as ultra-thin, hollow straws made of carbon, where each tube is built from layers just 1 atom thick, rolled up into concentric cylinders. In this study, the team filled these tiny hollow channels with extremely thin wires of iron, with diameters only on the scale of nanometers, far smaller than anything visible with a standard microscope. When iron is confined in such a restricted space, its atoms do not arrange themselves in the same way they do in bulk iron, which is exactly where this discovery becomes so interesting. How the material was fabricated. To create these structures, the researchers used an in situ fabrication method based on advanced chemical vapor deposition. In simple terms, they grew a continuous film of carbon nanotubes while, at the same time, forming uninterrupted iron-based nanowires inside each nanotube along its internal channel, like filling thousands of microscopic straws with metal. This approach means the iron does not have to be inserted later. Instead, it forms directly within the nanotube during growth, giving better control over structure and purity. Stabilizing rare iron phases. Here's where it gets controversial for material science. By carefully controlling how the material was cooled, sometimes slowly, sometimes rapidly, and in specific sequences, the team was able to tune the atomic arrangement of the iron phase inside the nanotubes. Under these carefully designed cooling conditions, they stabilized so-called non-equilibrium phases of iron, specifically face-centered cubic, FCC, and hexagonal close-packed, HCP, structures, at room temperature. Typically, these phases appear only under high pressure or special conditions and do not last once those conditions are removed, so holding them steady at ambient conditions is a major achievement. Unusual magnetic behavior. The iron nanowires inside the nanotubes showed a particularly striking magnetic response. They display both ferromagnetic and antiferromagnetic behavior at the same time, and the balance between these two depends strongly on the local atomic arrangement of the iron. In a ferromagnet, the magnetic moments, tiny magnetic arrows associated with each atom, tend to line up in the same direction, giving a strong overall magnetization, as seen in common permanent magnets. In an antiferromagnet, neighboring magnetic moments line up in opposite directions, cancelling each other out and producing no large-scale magnetization even though each atom is magnetic. When regions with ferromagnetic and antiferromagnetic properties are brought into direct physical and magnetic contact across sharp interfaces, an effect called exchange bias can appear. This phenomenon shifts the magnetic response in a way that is crucial for devices like spin valves and is widely used in spintronics, magnetic recording technologies, and sensors. But here's where it gets controversial from a design standpoint. Being able to engineer this exchange bias inside a single, nanoscale iron-filled nanotube system could challenge existing device architectures and trigger new debates about how best to build future magnetic memory or logic elements. Why this matters for future technologies. According to the research team, this work pushes forward the understanding of how materials behave when confined inside carbon nanotubes and suggests fresh strategies for designing nanomaterials whose magnetic and electronic properties can be tuned on demand. By combining precise control of the synthesis process with nanoscale imaging and detailed magnetic measurements, they could directly link atomic-level rearrangements to the way the material behaves macroscopically. For beginners, this means that changing how atoms stack and shift inside a nanowire can dramatically alter how that material acts as a magnet. Beyond iron, wider applications. And this is the part most people miss. The method is not limited to iron alone. The researchers suggest that the same confinement and cooling strategy could be applied to other metallic nanowire systems, such as nickel, cobalt, and mixtures, alloys, of these metals, to stabilize their high-pressure phases under everyday conditions. If that proves broadly achievable, it could open new research paths in areas like biomagnetism, materials physics, nanomagnetism, and spintronics. Potential applications range from advanced exchange biosystems and quantum data storage devices to nanoheaters for targeted medical treatments in nanomedicine, where precisely controlled heating at the nanoscale can be used, for example, to attack cancer cells. The study, the image, and the team. A high-resolution transmission electron microscopy, HRTEM, image from the project shows an HCP-Fe martensite phase neatly encapsulated inside a multi-wall carbon nanotube, offering direct visual confirmation of this rare ion structure in confinement. The research was led by Dr. Filippo Boi from the Department of Chemistry and Materials Science at XJTLU, together with collaborators Dr. Qiuchen Dong, Zihue Qiu, and Jianfang Wu from the School of Sciences Laboratory and Technical Team. Their findings were published in the journal Carbon under the title Possible Confinement of HCP-Fe martensite, Atomic Shuffling, Stacking Fault Nucleation, and Large Coercivities in Fe-filled Multi-Wall Carbon Nanotubes, authored by Luyao Wang, writer, and edited by Patricia Piters. Your turn. What do you think? Bold question time. If scientists can routinely stabilize phases of metals that usually exist only under extreme conditions, should this reshape how we categorize materials in textbooks and databases, or do you think these confined phases are too specialized to count as standard forms? Do you see this kind of nano-confined engineering as a realistic path toward everyday quantum and spintronic devices, or is it still too exotic for practical use? Share whether you're excited, skeptical, or somewhere in between. Does this kind of atomic-level control feel like the future of technology to you, or are we overhyping what nanostructuring can actually deliver?